Hello and welcome to another edition of Stockwatch. So Google have been in the headlines recently after 10 US states led by Texas are suing the company, accusing it of taking illegal steps to preserve its monopoly over the online advertising market. So the alleged move includes striking a deal with Facebook, who I mentioned yesterday on the Stockwatch video as being in conjunction with Apple to manipulate online advertising auctions. So this is the latest complaint facing the tech giant, which is under pressure from not only American regulators but global regulators as well, which is very important. It's not just stateside anymore, it's actually gone global. So, Google have obviously rejected the claim, saying they will strongly defend themselves in court. They're saying that they've invested in state-of-the-art tech services. This is benefiting businesses and consumers alike. Digital ad prices have fallen in the last decade because of this, and it's all the hallmarks of a highly competitive industry that they're in. But the lawmakers that are suing them have said that Google repeatedly used their power to control pricing, engage in market collusion to rig auctions in a tremendous violation of justice. So this comes from the Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton. So very, very interesting developments there coming out of Google. Right now, when you visit a website, this is according to the Texas Attorney General, a news outlet that you know and trust, like the Wall Street Journal or your favorite local paper, you'll see advertisements likely placed there by Google. But Google doesn't tell you, the public, that they manipulate the advertising auctions and they continually illegally profit by taking money away from those web pages and putting it in their own pocket. So basically, there's two sides to every story, and I'm sure when Google have their day in court, things will perspire and come to light. So I'm just focusing on Google today. I've got it on the daily chart at the moment, and what I can see, we saw this very vast accentuation. We saw this sell-off in the technology sector at the end of September, going into most of September, at the beginning of September. And also we saw the pickup after that. So this is when we saw a lot of, mainly the NASDAQ, the S&P start falling and crashing. Lots of big popular tech giants had a bit of a sell-off in that period. Apple, Facebook, Google themselves. And now we're seeing an ascension up to, yearly highs at least. What I'm seeing at the moment, though, is a bit of a bearish divergence on momentum, which could start bringing prices lower. If I just zoom in, just to get a bit of perspective, what we can see at the moment, the base and conversion line of the Ichimoku indicator coming to a bit of a confluence area. We're seeing the Ichimoku cloud actually start progressing further upwards. So this is not a good sign for prices, as now we're looking at a bit of a consolidation between these two ranges. So what I'll be looking at in the next few trading sessions as we go into the end of this week and early next week is if we're going to start seeing prices fall lower to this region here, and then if it does break this support, then I'll expect cloud engulfment, and then we'll be looking at probably the lower end of the cloud here for it to start dropping to. So interesting developments depending on the headlines as well, if we're going to get into that zone. Again, on a 4-hour shorter term perspective, I'm again seeing prices starting to fall downwards. So we've had this accentuation up through most of November. Now we're seeing a bit of consolidation throughout the end of November, and then as we come into December, we're seeing prices start to wane a little bit. So it's like we've reached a peak at the moment on these areas, and now we're seeing prices failing to start moving upwards towards these areas here. So I'll just take this arrow and I'll just zoom in a bit more. So what I'll be looking at basically in the next few trading sessions is if we cannot start piercing up through these resistance levels here, then I fully expect prices to start falling down. As you can see, the intraday candlesticks are hovering precariously above the Ichimoku cloud. So we're looking at the moment, most probably if we get a piercing through this floor, then we're going to be looking at the next levels on the long term, and even further down to the prices before. Again, a bit of a divergence happening. If momentum starts picking up, we could see a bit of a hidden divergence, but it's looking more likely that prices might start waning and start fooling a bit more. So it's just things to look out for in Google, and obviously with this lawsuit if it does come to light. So that's all from the Stockwatch today. Thank you very much for joining me. If you have any comments, please feel free to add them to the video and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Have a great trading day ahead and bye for now.